When should you file a patent application? The answer, I think, will surprise you because filing too early can be just as bad as filing too late. And this video is going to explain exactly how you can determine when the best time is to file your patent application. Stick around, we are starting right now. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Dylan Adams. I am a patent attorney and author of the best-selling book, Patents Demystified, which is an insider's guide to protecting ideas and inventions used by inventors, entrepreneurs, and startups worldwide, including at top universities like Harvard, Stanford, and MIT. You might also recognize me from my appearance on CNBC's hit show, The Profit, with Marcus Lemonis. So this channel is all about giving you the insider tips on how I help my clients, whether they be Fortune 100 companies, startups, or even Shark Tank businesses, protect their ideas and inventions. So be sure to subscribe to the channel for more on how to understand patents and startups. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The timing of when you file your first patent application is really important because, like I said, if you don't file at the right time, you could potentially lose your patent rights completely and have your invention dedicated to the public so that you can't protect it and really anybody can use it. Or what you can do is you can set yourself up for failure because you're setting yourself up for costs down the road that you're really not going to be prepared for. Okay, so another thing to understand is what sort of patent application do you want to file? Typically, I recommend filing a provisional patent application, and this is especially true for startups and for emerging companies. Large companies will start off with non-provisional patent applications, but provisional patent applications are usually going to be the best way to go for smaller companies. And so when I talk about filing your first patent application, I'm going to be talking about filing a provisional patent application. Okay, so let's talk about why you want to file soon instead of later. So you want to file before you make any public disclosures, public uses, or offers for sale, because patent rights actually start to be lost when you start making public disclosures, public uses, or offers for sale. So that is going to be a threshold thing. Before you make a public disclosure, public use, or offer for sale, you will want to file a first patent application. Like I said, that's typically a provisional patent application. Another good reason to file a patent application, and it doesn't relate to losing rights, is when you're going to be approaching investors. So you may be approaching investors to help you build a prototype, maybe you want these folks to buy your idea. It could maybe be an acquisition of a company. So before you start approaching those folks, whatever the reason is, you're going to want to file a provisional patent application. The reason is because you want to be able to go into a meeting like that to be able to say you're patent pending, which helps your pitch, and then two, so that you can talk to them freely about what your invention is. One of the biggest mistakes people make is going to and talking to investors saying, well, we can't tell you about this. This is secretive and we don't trust you. No investor is going to want to work with you if they don't understand fully what you're doing and you can be completely candid with them. So the best way to protect yourself is to file a patent application. And that allows you to, again, like I said, be able to say you're patent pending, you have a filing date, and that proves that you've done things before you went to this meeting. So in the theoretical case that they try to steal your idea, you've got priority before you went in and talked to them. So that's why it's important to file a patent application before talking to investors, even though that's not necessarily going to forfeit patent rights. As long as there's some implied confidentiality, talking to investors wouldn't be considered a public disclosure or public use. If you make an offer for sale, that could potentially forfeit patent rights. But a lot of times you're going to be asking for investment and not actually selling the product. But that's certainly something to keep in mind. So that is typically when you want to file a patent application, and those are the threshold times. So it's not just when you come up with the idea. I mean, you really want to wait as long as possible to file your first patent application. The reason is because you file a provisional patent application, and that gives you a year timeline before you have to file the really expensive non-provisional patent application. Provisional patent application can be relatively inexpensive, and it's a good way to get your foot in the door, get some protection, and gives you another year. But at the non-provisional stage, if you're doing it right, it's going to be pretty expensive. And if you make the mistake of filing too early, such as right when you come up with the idea, or before you're actually ready to talk to people publicly or talk to investors, you're setting yourself up for this 1 year timeline where you're going to have to spend a lot of money at the non-provisional stage when you may not be ready for it. I mean, that year typically goes by really fast for startups. There's a lot to be done, and even then, it's a race against the clock to try to get as much done so that when you file that non-provisional application, you know it's worth the money. And ideally, you're going to want to have a lot of updates so you can then put updates in the non-provisional compared to the provisional patent application. So that is sort of the threshold of when you actually want to file. So if you got some value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, would really appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell icon so you get more information about startups and patents. And leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear your comments and see what you think about these strategies, if you've implemented them, if it's something you would want to do. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the next video.